All right, well, let's change gears a little bit. And remember, there are a few exemptions here. So let's say you didn't fit into the executive exemption. Well, let's try the administrative one. All right, so what do we got here? Primary duty, remember, that's really like primary focus, must be in office or non-manual work. So right there, you're not talking blue-collar people. And every so often, I'll run into folks that will want to make their maintenance technicians administratively exempt. You know, something like this, like in a housing complex or something like this. No, it doesn't work like that. That's blue-collar. It's got to be office or non-manual work directly related to the management or general business operations. And the primary duty includes the exercise of discretion and independent judgment in significant matters. So right away you can see, I gotta give this person the right to make some decisions. If I'm a micromanager and I'm making all the decisions, then someone who might have been administratively exempt isn't. Well, let's look at what it means to be directly related to the management or general business operations. Okay, what's that mean? It means you are doing work related to things like tax, finance, budgeting. And remember, you're making important decisions here. I mean, if I'm a finance guy, I'm not just spouting out numbers. Okay, I am having some input. Okay, I'm determining why the money is coming up the way it is. Budgeting, see, I'm making some decisions here, or having input. This is related to management or the general business operations. And look at this: auditing, insurance, quality control, safety and health. Oh, human resources fits into this area like a glove. Labor relations, personnel management. You see how old the regs are. Public relations. So I'm out there getting our good name out there. Government relations. So I'm out there buying off politicians or something like this. You know, something fun. Computer network. You kind of see how this is all staff function. Management or general business operations. It's staff. It's not line function. These are not the people out there actually doing the work of the organization. We are behind the scenes. We're the finance, we're the safety and health, we're working with the employees, we're behind the scenes type of folks. That's what is meant by administration. Now, one of the changes that we got in 2004 is the door opened up a little bit for this administrative exemption when we're talking about their primary duties being related to management or general business operations. It opened up to apply to the employer's customers. Now, I just got done saying these are staff type of functions behind the scenes, but it got a little more liberal because the Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor said, look, if you've got employees that are acting as advisors or consultants to their employers' customers or clients, well, that might be qualifying. Those could be exempt type of duties. Well, that opened up the possibility for a lot more people becoming exempt. And that's just basically how the law has changed over the years. So you still have to be engaged in tax, finance, human resources, or things like this. But talking to the clients and dealing with the clients is not going to disqualify you from being exempt anymore. All right, so let's look next at, we looked at primary duties being directly related to the management or general business operations. So let's look at the primary duties that include the exercise of discretion and independent judgment in significant matters. So in other words, it's not just an accounting function. You got to be able to exercise some discretion and judgment on important things. So what is discretion and independent judgment? Now again, this gets back to all the fun stuff. If a micromanager is taking over all of the decisions, well, basically what you're doing is you're taking away the exempt status of the people that report to you. So the factors to consider, and this is right from the regulations: whether the employee has the authority to formulate, affect, interpret, or implement management policies, operating practices. Does the employee have the authority to carry out major assignments, in conducting the operations of the business, right? Whether the employee performs work that affects the business to a substantial degree, the operations, again, behind the scenes, supporting operations. Whether the employee has authority to commit the employer in matters like financial impact. In other words, can I sign the contract for who's going to clean the office? Can I sign the contract for who the pop machine is, we're going to get the pop machine from, or something like that? So you see all these things coming in where they've got the right to make decisions. And basically the fact that the employee's decisions might be revised or reversed, that doesn't hurt, because that just means somebody disagrees. That doesn't mean that they're not exempt. Now, in 2004, little update here, the Department of Labor said that the use of manuals and guidelines or other established procedures, like highly technical manuals, scientific, legal, financial, and stuff like that, you still have to have a level of expertise to understand and interpret those. So, if you're somebody with advanced or specialized knowledge or skills that are needed to interpret what's in these manuals, that's not going to disqualify you. It used to be, and we've had decisions in the past, where someone maybe in the insurance industry, like appraisers, would come out and they would appraise the damage to a car or a building or something like this. Well, certainly that's important. Those are important decisions. But we got decisions that said that is not the exercise of discretion and independent judgment. Because basically they're just looking in this book, they're following the guidelines, so they're not really exercising any judgment. Well, this is new from the manual, or from the regulations in 2004. You got to have a certain level of expertise to understand some of these books. So that is now discretion and independent judgment. That's a new part of the regs. Now, what also are we saying about discretion and independent judgment? Well, what type of jobs are these? What are the functions that would qualify? What are some of the duties? Well, you're advising management. You're planning. Oh, you're a negotiator? Maybe you're out there negotiating contracts. You're representing the company in some respect, PR or something like this. You're purchasing, promoting sales, business research, those types of things. So you can kind of see the discretion and independent judgment that you would need for all those types of duties. Now, the Department of Labor gives us a specific list of things that are not going to be covered. And they use the example of a secretary. So if you got a secretary that is typing, filing, answering correspondence at the direction of her supervisor, you see those are clerical types of duties. There's no discretion and independent judgment. But answering correspondence on her own authority, like she's putting the letter together, interviewing applicants, arranging meetings at her discretion or his discretion, that qualifies. So you see, you could take a secretary and give that secretary these types of duties and make them exempt. And I do that all the time. I have a secretary that maybe the president wants to be exempt. It's like, great. We'll put the secretary in charge of the pool house. We'll put her in charge of the rec center. We'll put her in charge of determining who's going to clean the building. Grounds. We'll put her in charge of contracting for grounds. So you kind of see how we're putting this discretion and independent judgment that helps keep the business running into that job. Again, micromanagers kill exempt status. And what are significant matters? Well, I think that's rather self-explanatory, but it basically says that you're making decisions that are important. And the consequence that you would make the wrong decision, well, that would hurt the company. The consequences of filing something incorrectly, not using the proper greeting when you are answering the phone, that's administrative, that's clerical, that stuff doesn't count. These have to be significant to the business. So let's recap on the administrative exemption. The primary duty or primary focus must be office or non-manual work directly related to the management or general business operations, which tends to be staff function. And the primary duty includes the exercise of discretion and independent judgment in significant matters.